trouble coming out of turn number 4.
Now they crash hard in the wall. A car spins to the back straightaway.
Caution is on the speedway.
Comeback. Rarely does one word tell such a story all on its own. Beating the unbeatable.
Finally going to win. The track that nearly did him in.
And ultimately returning to glory.
About to write another chapter in his comeback story.
Before there is triumph, there must be heartbreak. Before victory,
He's back in victory lane.
defeat. For the legends of NASCAR, difficulty has never been a deterrent.
This tough, scrappy driver stays right in there. Just an amazing performance.
These are the legends. These are their stories.
A victory coming at the track where he was so critically injured some years ago.
Welcome to CMT's greatest NASCAR comebacks.
Here they come off turn number 4. They bump. They lean on each other, heading for turn number 3. Onto the back straightaway of the comeback trail.
It has been said that a man who has been given too much too early can't appreciate what he has. In the case of Dale Earnhardt, that was never an issue. By 1996, Earnhardt had been racing in NASCAR's top division for nearly 20 years. The Intimidator was now a 7-time NASCAR champion with 70 wins on his resume.
Number 10.
On July 28th at the Talladega Superspeedway, Earnhardt was once again contending for the title. Legend has it that Earnhardt could see the air at NASCAR's biggest and fastest track. But on this day, even his staggering drafting abilities could not save him from the big one.
Now they crash. Earnhardt hard in the wall. Earnhardt's overhit by Derek Hope and Robert Presley. He's upside down. He's spinning in the middle of the field.
I remember watching it thinking, oh my God, he just got center punched. I didn't know if he was going to survive the wreck, to be honest with you. It was that bad.
End over end, side over side, virtually nothing left of the car. I think most people would have been in the hospital for weeks after that wreck.
I hate seeing that, no matter who it is, but you don't want to see the greatest race car driver in the world have that kind of a wreck. So it's scary, and I think it makes you think a little bit about how dangerous this sport can be.
He goes through a tremendous crash over there, and I think he cracked his sternum and busted his shoulder, and he was in a lot of pain.
1 week later, he was denied defending his Brickyard 400 title, taking the green flag but giving up his seat to teammate Mike Skinner.
Dadgum, it's hard to get out of there, Jerry. I mean, you know, it's my life right here.
You could see in his eyes when he got out at Indy that killed him. It went against everything he knew.
I don't know if he felt it was a sign of weakness or what it was, but Dale Earnhardt does not come out of a race car.
We went to Watkins Glen the next week after Indianapolis on a road course, and you're wondering, how in the world is he going to do this? And not only does he go out there and qualify, he wins the pole.
I know he was hurting in that car. You know, you got to think about how many shifts and how many turns and how much stuff. If you've ever broken your ribs before, it's hard to do anything.
Green flag is in the air, and they are heading down to turn number 1. On the brake, Dale Earnhardt gets a good jump on the start. He'll pull out front.
Things are tough.
He promised Teresa and I that he would get out of the car, and we had David Green on standby that day, and we kind of had to see adjusted where it would fit David more than it would Dale.
Once they dropped the green flag, it's like Nova came to him. He was ready to go.
Things are tough all over.
The question is, will Dale Earnhardt get out of the car and let David Green take over the driving duties?
Things are tough.
Apparently, Dale Earnhardt, he is not going to get out of that race car.
Earnhardt threaded his teeth, led 54 of the race's 90 laps, finished 6th.
You just don't do those kinds of things. Dale Earnhardt does those kinds of things.
If you're not scared of him before then, I think you'd probably be pretty scared of him after that.
He was going to make sure everybody understood, I'm the toughest, I'm the baddest cat out here on this racetrack. I don't care what I've got, as long as I've still got one good arm, and as long as my right leg will push that accelerator down, I'm racing.
The history of NASCAR has been written by men like Dale Earnhardt, fearless, fast, and seemingly indestructible. Chief among them, an outspoken wild man from the Shenandoah Mountains named Curtis Turner. Turner spent his entire career testing limits.
If you ever watched Curtis Turner drive a race car, he had one speed, and that was wide open.
He had a feel for a car that was unlike any they've ever seen before. He just somehow knew how far he could take that car and not spin up.
As far as handling a race car, he might have been the greatest. He certainly was one of the greatest.
Number 9.
In 1960, Turner ventured into the world of racetrack ownership, overseeing construction of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But financial problems forced a search for investors. And some of those potential investors were unsavory characters, to say the least.
If you believe all the lore, he was a rabble-rouser who was determined to get in there and stir the pot.
He was just wide open, wild, and his personal life was real hard and real fast and left.
He was a big, rough, hard-nosed, winning race car driver. But he had another lifestyle that was pretty rugged.
He thought he had a better path for the drivers and those in the sport. And as it turns out, he really didn't.
For his defiance, Turner was slapped with a lifetime ban and fired from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
If he ever got a chance to come back, as good as Curtis Turner was in a race car and as good as he enjoyed being in this business, he was not going to blow it, that's for sure.
The chance came in 1965. After years of seeking forgiveness, Curtis Turner returned at the brand new track in Rockingham, North Carolina.
He was in his 40s, out of shape. It is absolutely stifling hot at Rockingham. The race took forever to run.
The astonishing thing about that race with Curtis was he drove it with a broken rib.
Curtis Turner proves to be too much for the rest of the field and screams his Ford under the checkered flag.
I was probably prouder of that second place finish than any other second place finish that I ever had, because Curtis Turner was tough.
Pops was back in victory lane, his legacy, pride, and good name restored.
If you had any doubt about he was over the hill or anything like that, he proved to be wrong.
He hadn't changed anything. He run in just as hard as he was running in 47. was running that day over in 1965 when he came back.
They've got a saying up kind of where I live and here in the South, that some people are as tough as a locust post. Curtis Turner was.
Against the odds.
8 years after Turner's victory, the Rock played host to another improbable comeback. Local hero Benny Parsons needed only to finish the season's final race to clinch the 1973 championship. A devastating wreck nearly ripped his Chevy in half. But thanks to the work of the entire garage, Parsons returned to win the title over Cale Yarborough. In 2004, Kurt Busch vaulted from 7th in points to 1st, entering the season finale at Homestead, Miami.
Oh, and he loses the wheel. Wow. Or loses the tire.
And he just missed clobbering the end of that wall.
Busch came back from deep within the field to clinch the cup. Harry Gant was nearly twice Kurt Busch's age when he assaulted the record books in 1991. After winning 3 consecutive September races, Gant's chance for a 4th seems spun out.
And they touch.
The Skull Bandit team got their car back out 12 and eventually into the lead.
Here he comes out of the line, and Harry Gant will win the Goodies 500.
Gant became forever known as Mr. September. When we return, the King gets caught. Kowicki closes the gap, and the Intimidators team turns tragedy into triumph. We're coming right back with more of CMT's greatest NASCAR comebacks.
Meet Ann Zawicki. Ann is the mother of 3 lovely children, though until a recent trip to McDonald's, didn't know it. It was fresh brewed premium roast coffee and a McGriddles that brought everything into life-affirming focus.
We're gonna be late for school.
Ann couldn't be happier.
I'm a soccer mom. None of us plays soccer. Hockey. Nope.
Start your morning with richer, bolder, premium roast coffee and add a warm, tasty McGriddles. Wake up and smell your life.
Girls, ballet?
Sorry, girl, not this trip.
When you plan a special getaway, Enterprise Rent-A-Car will pick you up free and get you going in style.
Hey, nice ride, cowboy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Did you know Nice and Easy Root Touch-Up is designed to match any brand of hair color, even if it's not nice and easy? Our color matching formula means one of these shades will cover those roots and match your color in 10 minutes. We can help you find your match with a call or click.
If you're looking to ramp up your ride, get ready. Advance Auto Parts has a brand new special order center just for you. It's your one-of-a-kind one-stop shop for everything from performance parts to cool custom accessories.
Mornings around here aren't just hectic. Oh, they're insane. But no matter how crazy it gets, I insist on serving a hot breakfast. That's why I love these.
Aunt Jemima frozen pancakes, light and fluffy homemade taste the easy way.
Patient has a fractured fibula, given him a mild sedative, so he can be able to go on tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
That killed him.
Paging Dr. Palmer, Dr. Barbara Palmer, dial 452.
Need contact lenses? You could. Get in your car, drive to your eye doctor, wait in line, pay more, wait a week, drive back, pick them up. Or call 1-800-CONTACTS. We deliver. You save.
We never give in to fads. Discover the timeless beauty of Moen. Moen. Buy it for looks, buy it for life.
If only the whole world worked like the all-new Kia Sedona. With memory control seats, DVD player, and 13-speaker Infinity sound system, it truly is state-of-the-art. The completely redesigned Kia Sedona.
Check it out. Está caliente. Corvette EcoBoat. Different style, same formula. And now, take advantage of this cool opportunity. Chevy Cobalt. That's an American revolution.
Comcast High-Speed Internet is the only high-speed internet provider that can bring you the wonderful world of Disney connection. Now on Comcast.net, you get cartoons, movie trailers, music videos, great games, and more. Access free premium content from Disney's Blast, an ad-free world of games and activities for kids. Play in Disney's Toontown, a 3D world where your family lives the life of a toon. And get specially discounted premium memberships for subscribers. Only at Comcast.net. To get Comcast high-speed internet, call now.
To stage a great comeback, one must be at the top to begin with. In the history of NASCAR, the top begins and ends with one man, Richard Petty.
The sunglasses and the hat with the feathers and just, man, that was a bigger than life image.
You know, Richard Petty was one of the best race drivers that ever lived.
Nearly 2 decades after his first NASCAR championship, Richard Petty's career was in decline. And by the fall of 1983, the king of stock car racing was stuck in a slump.
You know, Richard had fallen off of the bandwagon of being able to go out and dominate like he had in earlier years.
They kind of stayed the same all the time. They never progressed, and everybody else started catching up and started moving by them.
Number 8.
that changed on October 9, 1983, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Petty outlasted Darrell Waltrip to grab his first victory in 19 races and 198th of his career. But in post-race inspection, the 43 car was found wearing left side tires on its right side, and the engine was 24 cubic inches too large.
I was in the room with Bill France Jr. when Bill came to me and he said, "We got a problem." And he said, we found that motor in the 43 car is too big.
So the next thing you know, you got different fractions doing what they think's best for the team, but not telling each other.
NASCAR did what they had to do. We felt like we did what we had to do, and then both of us forgot and went on down the road.
Fans were stunned. The kingdom was in scandal.
This infraction was huge, and it's something that no one ever expected to see out of the king. So it was a pretty good blow to his reputation.
They weren't the only ones doing that. There was a lot of teams out there that pushed things way, way, way past the limits of today.
There's no race driver driving a race car anywhere that hasn't had controversy in their career, and that's just part of the business.
By the end of the season, Richard Petty left the family team to drive for record executive Mike Kerr.
I think that's why he left Petty Enterprises, because he didn't approve that stuff.
It tarnished Richard Petty's career to Richard Petty, but not to the racing world.
Petty reemerged in 1984 to fix his fractured image.
Felt like you needed to win in '84 just because it's having races and you're supposed to be winning. You know, it had nothing to do with what had happened the year before or 10 years before.
He did so by earning his 199th checkered flag at Dover, Delaware.
There is not a fan of the house that is not on their feet cheering the man from Randall, North Carolina on to victory here.
And on July 4th, the king declared his independence from controversy, complete with a presidential pardon.
It's Richard Petty by a foot. Petty wins his 200th career NASCAR victory.
When he won that 200th race, I think all was forgiven among the fans for the incident in '83 at Charlotte.
For him to come back and to win that race, I think probably was one of the most significant things in his career.
Amazing comebacks.
The 2000 Winston 500 at Talladega, Dale Earnhardt launched himself from 18th to 1st in only 3 laps, capturing his 76th and final victory. Bill Elliott was never more awesome than on May 5th, 1985 at Talladega, when he made up more than 5 miles under green flag conditions.
Bill Elliott comes down and will win the Winston 500, overcoming almost 2 laps down early this afternoon and coming back to win.
There is no harder place to pass than a winding single-file procession of a road course, unless you're Californian, Ernie Irvan. Irvan started second at Sonoma in 1992, but was black flagged to the rear after jumping the start. He went on to pass 42 cars and captured the 4th win of his career. Never before in NASCAR history have a driver and a car owner been as close as Dale Earnhardt and Richard Childress. So when Earnhardt was lost in the season's opening race of 2001, many wondered if Childress would be able to go on.
Number 7.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it that things at RCR after Dale Earnhardt's death were obviously not the same. They couldn't be.
They lost a friend. They lost the greatest driver of our sport. They lost a guy that helped drive some of the things that were going on here. They lost a lot of things.
I was ready to quit, not go anywheres, and you just didn't know what to do. And I think the strength came from within all the people that worked here at RCR.
We still had a job to do. We knew what we had to do. This is our living. This is what we do. So we had to go out and race.
Kevin Harvick would pilot the GM Goodwrench Chevy. Along with a new number and new colors, Harvick infused a new attitude.
We go to Atlanta and
and they put Harvick in the car. We're pretty doubtful that he can get the job done.
I wasn't even expecting to be in this situation, so I just went out and drove as hard as I could.
He was driving his car to the top, to the top, to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. I mean, he was passing and inside this guy, outside that guy, and I'm thinking, man, he's gonna run, he's gonna finish good, but I thought he was wearing his car out.
We come down to the end of another race, and here's the 29 car and the 24 car, and they're racing each other for the win.
Here they come! Gordon got loose. It's Harvick! Harvick by inches! Harvick by inches! Harvick by inches! What a race!
I think when Kevin Harvick won, I don't know, it's just the kind of like the heart is starting to beat again.
I tell people a lot, sometimes winning a race can cure cancer. It really makes you feel better, man. It gets the whole team pulling, gets momentum going, and that's what it did for Childress' team.
I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna cross that river. I'm gonna kiss tomorrow now.
I think that whole team bounced back and came together simply because they knew how dedicated their former driver, Dale Earnhardt, had been. And that's what he would have wanted.
You say, you know what, we'll do it for him. And you pull together and you derive satisfaction out of, saying he would be proud of this.
I commend Richard for saying, okay, guys, we're taking the very, very best stuff that we got, and we're going to make the best out of a bad situation, and that's what we did.
Talk about a moment that just took them from the pits, from the bottom of it's as far down as they could possibly be, to back where they had been. It all happened in that 1 second when Harvick took the checkered flag.
It was a comeback for Childress, a comeback for the team, and a comeback for millions of Earnhardt fans around the world.
I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna cross that river. I'm gonna kiss tomorrow now.
Up next on CMT's Greatest NASCAR Comebacks, Ricky Rudd stares down adversity thanks to a little duct tape.
Look, Ricky Rudd, tougher than Woodpecker lips.
Tim Richmond and Mark Martin battle personal demons, and we count down to the #1 comeback in NASCAR history.
Alice writes, Jeff, what's the best part of the CMT Music Awards?
Tough one, Alice. Big stars, live performances. Let's ask the viewers.
Oh, the live performances. I mean Jeff Foxworthy.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Jeff Foxworthy's cool, but I like it. Jeff Foxworthy.
What? Who knew?
The 2006 CMT Music Awards, hosted by Jeff Foxworthy, live Monday, April 10th at 8, 7 Central, only on CMT.
Name's Larry. I'm the health inspector.
On March 24th.
You ain't gonna believe this, but there's a snow cone vendor out there not wearing a bra.
Is that a violation?
No, but it makes me want to get a snow cone.
He might not be sharp.
Fish is raw. Trying to poison these folks in here?
He might not be professional.
Come on, Shug. Hook a brother up, player.
But when it comes to cracking the case, you can count on one guy to
get her done.
Larry the Cable Guy, health inspector.
What do you think? Think it makes me look fat?
Rated PG-13. In theaters March 24th.
Life comes at you fast. Be smart. Invest with Nationwide. Investments, retirement, insurance.
Nationwide is on your side.
When it comes to our handcrafted mini burgers, no detail is too small. The Ruby Minis are here. 4 little masterpieces, 1 big burger taste. Ruby Tuesday.
I'm Molly. Ooh, a soft, soapy bath mitt made just for little hands.
Can you do your shoulders?
I'm doing it! Huggies Clean Team. For kid-friendly bathrooms everywhere.
Every day, millions of decent, hard-working Americans are living with the inadequate, uncooperative, and just plain lazy. Electronics behaving badly. It's time you showed them who rules the remote control with a little help from Rent-A-Center. We've got the new widescreen TVs, home computers, and brand name electronics you really want. With easy payment options, no high interest credit card fees, delivery and service included. Nothing to stand in your way of getting the good stuff. Rent-A-Center, we make it easy to make it your own.
Would I want to be 25 again? Not a chance. I'd rather have all this and great-looking skin.
You can with new Advanced Radiance age-defying makeup with Olay age-defying ingredients built in. Skin looks 5 years younger. Advanced Radiance, new from CoverGirl.
Introducing the 2006 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Available 6-speed, 263-horse Myvec V6. Driven to thrill.
Get ready for something this refreshing. Introducing Listerine Pocket Mist, the refreshing way to kill 99% of bad breath germs. New Listerine Pocket Mist. Kill the germs, feel the fresh.
I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
No matter where you're headed, there's a Choice Hotel nearby. Including Comfort Inn, Comfort Suites, Quality, Sleep Inn, Clarion, and Mainstay Suites. Right now, just stay 2 times and earn a free night with Choice privileges. For reservations, visit choicehotels.com. Choice Hotels. We'll see you there.
Richard Lee Rudd made his NASCAR debut in 1975 at age 18, and with a hard-nosed style that would eventually lead to 788 consecutive starts, NASCAR's Iron Man record. But in 1984, that streak nearly ended at 91, thanks to a horrifying preseason crash at Daytona.
Number 6.
Coming out of turn number 4, airborne is Ricky Rudd's car. It goes end over end, sideways, lands on its nose, and caution is on the speedway.
Car came flying off turn 4 down by gate 7, got out of control, and stood up on its nose and literally looked like the car was trying to bore a hole in the ground.
I just remember thinking to myself when I'm going backwards, whatever you do, don't go to sleep, don't get knocked out. I remember getting really quiet, being really high in the air, and then I remember coming down and hitting, and all the air rushed out of my body when I hit, and just like it knocked the wind out of me.
Everybody watched in horror, wondering what kind of shape's Ricky Rudd going to be in.
Rudd suffered rib and eye injuries, but left the hospital the following day.
We went back to the racetrack, and I said, we got to qualify, today. So we went out and warmed the car up.
His eyes are still red. He looks horrible. And you think, what in the world is this guy even doing at a racetrack? Should be in a hospital.
My eyes were so swelled up that I had to really work hard to keep my eyes open because they were swelled shut from the trauma. Got back in the race car, went around the racetrack a couple laps, and I couldn't see. When I got to the corner, everything went black.
Come back and he said, I can't see good. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the vibration and all. He said, I can't see.
Looked up there and there was a roll of duct tape. I said, well, let me try this, see if this works. I'll go out one more time. And, basically took some duct tape and taped my eye, the extra skin that I had from the swelling, taped them open, put my helmet on. I didn't really think, not a big deal of it, and just did what I had to do and went out on the racetrack and, hey, everything's okay.
That's grit. That's something that you have, that you reach down for when there's nothing else to reach for.
I mean, anybody who's going to duct tape his eyes open to go race, that's almost too hardcore. I mean, could you imagine not being able to blink?
He raced in the Daytona 500 with swollen eyelids and with a bulky flak jacket wrapped around his rib cage. And 1 week later, still hurting, he muscled his way around the rugged short track in Richmond, Virginia for his 3rd career win.
Ricky Rudd out of turn number 4 will come down to the line, take the checkered flag, and win the Miller 400.
Ricky Rudd's a lot tougher guy than a lot of people might give him credit for. He's a feisty little guy, and he'll take it to the limit.
We're not talking 2 weeks in the hospital and then come back and win a race. We're talking about an accident, racing in the next race at the same track, and a week later winning.
Ricky Rudd, a bit battered and a bit bruised from a terrifying crash 2 weeks ago, will now drive the Bud Moore car to victory lane.
That's
when a real racer comes in. When you just have so much love, so much passion for the sport that you let almost nothing stand in the way. And you know, that's why these individuals are immortals.
There is no greater key to coming back from a hard hit than pure heart. And for proof of that fact, one needs to look no further than Ricky Craven.
He had a dream. He had a spot in life. He was something he was supposed to do, and that's supposed to be a race car driver.
After just 2 seasons, Craven found himself on the roster at Hendrick Motorsports, teammates to the last 2 Cup champions, Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte.
When he was with Hendrick Motorsports, a lot of people kind of tabbed him as the guy who was going to break through and really be special.
But sadly, it was his 6th race with Hendrick that most fans remember. Craven himself doesn't remember a thing.
Number 5.
A hard practice crash at the Texas Motor Speedway sent the 31-year-old driver to the hospital, then to the sidelines with a very serious concussion.
Ricky had a traumatic brain injury, and it affected a lot of parts of his life.
So Ricky comes along and says, I have post-concussion syndrome. And everybody says, what is that? And is he crazy? And he got the label that, you know, he wasn't going to be able to drive again.
I questioned whether he would be able to come back from the wreck. The injury, I thought, would probably mean the end of his career.
Had he not had that wreck, his career was really on track to be a superstar.
He struggled through the rest of the 97 season and in the first 4 races of 1998.
You know, there were 4 months when I wasn't sure what we were going to do, and I wasn't sure about the opportunity to come back.
When he first came back, he wasn't ready. He made the mistake that a lot of professional athletes make. They come back too quick, or they don't retire at the right time.
More than a year later, after the Texas crash, Craven had recovered and decided to come back at his home track.
I conditioned myself very well, and I prepared myself mentally by coming back in New Hampshire.
The crowd here in New England on its feet, giving Ricky Craven a standing ovation. He's just won the Bud Pole.
After leaving Hendrick, Craven floated from ride to ride.
He took a couple of rides with really second and third tier teams to try to keep his hand in Winston Cup racing.
But in 2001, Craven revived a career twice left for dead.
Craven has the advantage off turn 4 to the line. He will win the Old Dominion 500, his first career NASCAR Winston Cup Series win.
Sometimes getting beat up like that humbles you a little bit, and getting in the right situation. For Ricky to come back and win at Martinsville, I mean, it says a lot. Ricky was able to do that because he just didn't quit.
Everybody was just waiting to explode with emotion because Ricky Craven had finally gotten his first Cup win and had come back from an accident that we thought was career-ending.
Sometimes those are the kind of challenges, and those are the kind of things that you need to motivate you to come back better than you ever were before.
Safety innovations.
Since its inception, NASCAR has worked with drivers, teams, and auto manufacturers to ensure competitors race as safely as possible. The 1960s and 70s saw the introduction of roll bars, window nets, and rubber fuel cells. The 1980s and 90s introduced roof flaps to keep cars on the ground, restrictor plates to slow cars down, and seatbelt harness systems. Today's safety innovations come from NASCAR's massive Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina. Since 2001, the R&D Center has helped in the development of head and neck restraints and the safer bearing, also known as soft walls. When we come back, more comebacks, including 2 Midwestern rivals on the road to NASCAR stardom. A racer who cheated death to race once again.
To see a person come from what he went to get back to victory lane was really neat.
It's the Final Four next on CMT's greatest NASCAR comebacks.
Every once in a while, a new show comes along to remind us all how awesome it is to kill time. CMT's Country Fried Home Videos, the new point and laugh show that you batter and we fry. Because really, if you're dumb enough to do this, we're happy to show it. A rally cry for all the buttheads.
Broke something.
CMT's Country Fried Home Videos. Friday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Zow! Wham! Bop! Bing! It's BAM!
Crest Whitening Expressions. Now an exhilarating lemon ice.
Crisp leaf lettuce. Fresh vine-ripened tomatoes. 100% USDA choice ground beef. Handcrafted burgers. Ruby Tuesday.
Someone's gonna love you.
She's a two-time champion. He's not. The world premiere of a new ABC Family original movie, The Cutting Edge 2, Going for the Gold. Tomorrow at 7, only on ABC Family.
I kind of like the landing.
Entertain your mouth with refreshing Tic Tac.
Oh yeah, this is what I call a diaper. Fits me so well I can exercise. This diaper moves with me so great. Oh, it's awesome.
Huggies Supreme, 5 times stretchier than Pampers Baby Dry.
Hey, are we still going to the park?
In a sec. Come here, look at this. My car just emailed me.
OnStar Vehicle Diagnostics runs hundreds of diagnostic checks of your Saturn every month and emails you the results.
The green lights say we're okay.
There's no additional cost to eligible OnStar subscribers. Just press the blue OnStar button to sign up.
I thought we were going to the park.
We are.
The first year of OnStar service is standard on every Saturn, including the 2006 relay.
As an editor-in-chief and a new mom, I'm in the shape of my life. 9 weeks ago, I was 172 pounds. By adding Slim Quick to my diet and exercise plan, I lost 35 pounds.
Slim Quick is available at GNC and super centers everywhere.
I'm so congested and I can't sleep.
She needs Nasonex. Nasonex relieves congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Nasonex. Nasonex.
Nasonex relieves congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Maybe that's why 4 million nasal allergy sufferers used Nasonex last year. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
A wise choice.
Nasonex treats congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Ask your doctor about Nasonex. Have you picked up your Nasonex refill? You should pick it up soon.
Time's wasting. So what are you waiting for?
Pick up your Nasonex refill today.
Nasonex.
Mom! Out of toilet paper again? Try Charmin Mega Roll. It lasts longer because it's 4 times the sheets in one. And it comes with the Charmin extender, so it fits. Mega Roll.
Some insurance companies aren't available when you need them. At 21st Century Insurance, you can always reach a friendly, knowledgeable customer service representative at any time, any day. Whether it's a question about a claim, your policy benefits, or if you want to find out how much you can save by switching to 21st, we'll give you the answers you need. Our licensed agents are standing by to tell you how much you can save by switching to 21st.
21st Century Insurance. Call us now at 1-800-211-SAVE.
Are you looking for quality home entertainment? Well, Play at Home Billiards and Games is your game room superstore. We carry everything you need to furnish your home with fun, showcasing the finest names in billiard tables, cues, and accessories. Why not convert your pool table into a dining top? Or how about a game room dedicated to your favorite sports team? We even carry darts, air hockey, foosball, chess sets, bar stools, artwork, poker tables, and much more. So come visit Play at Home in Antioch and our new location in Brentwood.
Racers could keep up with Tim Richmond on the racetrack.
Tim was a fierce competitor. I mean, you see him, he wrecking in every corner and still wind up winning the race.
Even fewer could keep up with him often.
He hung with the kind of the in crowd. He was kind of the leader of the in crowd.
He brought a swashbuckling fashion to the garage that people would look at him and either go, wow, or look at him and go,
Richmond arrived as the 1980s were just beginning. His talent was outshone only by his self-confidence.
He's kind of a James Dean type of character that came along with incredible natural driving ability.
That was one of the toughest individuals on the racetrack we've had any of us have seen in a long time.
Number 4.
In 1986, Richmond signed on with Hendrick Motorsports. His crew chief was old-school wrench Harry Hyde.
Harry always believed him. He was very candid with him. He was very brash and father-like forcefulness sometimes when it came to Tim Richmond.
That was it right there. Tim Richmond, Harry Hyde, put them together, magic.
Over the final 17 races of 1986, Richmond won 7. But at the start of the 87 season, he was absent.
Everything was going on about him was peculiar. You start wondering, what's going on here? Then he's got pneumonia. Oh, he's got to set out. Wow, that's a bad deal. I hate that for him.
Said he wasn't feeling well and showed us some things, and my wife then, Kathy, said, he has AIDS. She'd been just reading about all that stuff, and I said, no way.
I never believed that Tim was dying of AIDS. I didn't hear that. That was a rumor, except for one person told me, and I didn't believe it.
Amid speculation and rumors, Richmond returned to the track for the season's 12th race at Pocono.
There was a lot of talk about it in the garage, about, you may not want to race with him too hard side by side, or you want to be watching for him.
His health couldn't have been 100%, and him being able to come back, that he was determined to prove that he could do it.
You got to wonder how many times Tim Richmond has had this dream since he's missed so many races this year. He is showing the way off turn number 3.
Tim Richmond heads down to the start-finish line, and he is going to win.
Pocono's a pretty tough track, and for a guy as sick as he was, that's just one of the bravest, strongest, toughest, most incredible feats I've ever seen in my life.
I couldn't see the checkered flag because I had tears in my eyes. It was pretty emotional in there for me.
Morning of the Pocono race, Tim took a blood transfusion, and he won. And he won at Riverside, and he was very, very, very ill.
He ran 6 more races that season, then disappeared from the track in the fall of 1987. Barely 2 years later, Tim Richmond was dead of AIDS.
I think if Tim Richmond would have been able to finish his career in NASCAR racing, it would have probably changed the record books and changed history.
I don't know if Dad would have had 7 career championships if Tim would have been around. And definitely, I don't know if you might be arguing that Tim was the best driver.
He didn't want to be remembered as just a blip on the radar screen. It's just a tragedy that we didn't get a chance to see how great he could have become.
As Richmond came back, another Midwesterner was on the road to return. As a teenager, Mark Martin had blistered his home Arkansas tracks and beyond, becoming a champion of the rough and tumble American Speed Association.
We'd all heard of Mark Martin. That was that kid. There's this little guy over there, and he's good.
So in 1982, out of his own pocket, Martin jumped in the Winston Cup Series full time.
Number 3.
When Mark first came on the scene, I could tell that he was the kind of guy that he was going to be tough.
He came in here, he had that little cocky attitude coming from the Midwest, I can be fast, I can do this, you guys aren't nothing.
My expectations were really high. I didn't know anything about NASCAR racing at all, and I had no idea how difficult, it was going to be.
Mark came out of a series where he was a dominant figure into a series where he wasn't dominant.
Every other step that I'd made along the way took in stride, but the step to NASCAR, I wasn't able to take in stride.
His run for Rookie of the Year had exhausted his body and his wallet. Forced to auction off the equipment he could no longer afford, Martin returned to Arkansas and the ASA.
The bottom line was I failed miserably. I couldn't believe it, so I had a bitter taste in my mouth about NASCAR.
I don't think it was that he failed. I think he was smart enough to realize he needed to go back and regroup.
Went back to the short track racing, ASA, and into the Midwest. And people forgot about it. And even though you ran well for 2 years, essentially people in NASCAR forgot about it.
I remember Mark Martin coming over to the house, going down to the basement with my daddy, and throwing in tape after tape after tape of his ASA races. And he was just trying to show somebody that he had what it took.
I'm looking for a road. Might be dirt, it might be gravel. I'm looking for a road. Only I'm supposed to travel.
I think that his determination showed people that he could be a force in the sport if he had the opportunity.
When upstart team owner Jack Roush came calling in 1988, a more mature Martin was ready for the challenge.
And Mark Martin, 30-year-old driver from Batesville, Arkansas, will win his first Winston Cup event.
He made his name with Roush, helped build the Roush organization, and they built it around him.
He and Jack Roush have done things that most people never ever dreamed of achieving in sport.
For all the mistakes I made, thank God for them. Because if I hadn't have failed in the early 80s, I might not be hooked up with Jack Roush today.
Most guys only get one shot. If you're going to get a second shot, you got to be as tough as Mark Martin.
Up next, two final stories that define the odds. Two very different racers from two different parts of the country. The final comebacks when we come back.
Looks like it's March again, which means it's the perfect time to go to Radio Shack and get a singular Sony Ericsson phone that's Bluetooth ready, has speakerphone, a camera, and a video recorder. For the best wireless phones and accessories, come to Radio Shack.
Interesting, Mr. Keebler.
Arnie, there's been an accident.
Oh, keep rolling.
Recording. This Chips Deluxe cookie just got fudge on the bottom and stripes on the top.
But isn't that elfin magic?
Yes, sir. He's catching on.
New Keebler Chips Deluxe with fudge stripes.
As a pilot, Dave Grady has done the walk-around hundreds of times. But this one might have saved his most precious cargo.
If you add weight to your car, don't take off until your tires are properly inflated.
Mario Andretti and Firestone remind you.
Check your tires.
The half and quarter pound flamethrower grill burger at Dairy Queen. Do one.
Give me your hair and your shoulders for just one day, and I'll give you flake-free hair that's never been more beautiful.
New Selsun Salon from Selsun Blue. No flakes, no itch. Rich in vitamins and moisturizers. Selsun Salon.
Just one day, you'll never look over your shoulders again.
The Polaris Dare to Compare sales event. We're calling out the competition with the world's toughest ATVs and utility vehicles, engineered to take on the real world. And we're backing it up with up to $500 in rebates and payments as low as $39 a month. The Polaris Dare to Compare sales event. Get to your dealer now and see why nothing compares to Polaris.
Daisy, daisy, light and dreamy. Dip it with chips, it's extra creamy. Spoon it, swirl it, mash it, savor it. Dollop on top, it's a family favorite. Do, 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 do a dollop of Daisy. Do, 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 do a dollop. Daisy goes with food and fun. Give a dollop to everyone. Do, 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 do a dollop of Daisy. Do, 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 do a dollop of Daisy.
issues. Thank goodness for miracles. Thank goodness for Kleenex.
Finger and toe area fungal infections require strong medicine. As a pharmacist, I recommend Fungicure.
Fungicure liquid eliminates fungus around nails with powerful antifungal medicine. Just brush it on. It's clear and dries in a snap. Fungicure, the finger and toe fungi specialist.
If only the whole world worked like the all-new Kia Sedona. With world-class comfort, convenience, and safety, it truly is state-of-the-art. The completely redesigned Kia Sedona.
The white flag is out on our countdown of CMT's greatest NASCAR comebacks. Here's a recap of our countdown so far.
10.
Terrible crash. Broke his sternum and then came right back, and he won the pole for that race at Watkins Glen.
9.
His personal life was real hard and real fast.
He run then just as hard as running that day over in 1965 when he came back.
8.
We found that motor in the 43 cars too big.
He did come back from it, and I think it was real important.
7.
When Earnhardt died, it just left such a hole.
Kevin Harvick on the outside pulled off one of the all-time upsets in NASCAR history.
6.
Ricky Rudd slamming toward the wall, crashing, rolling over.
He goes to Richmond, and he looks horrible, and he wins the race.
5.
He got hurt out there in Texas, and everybody knew it was a pretty serious injury.
If you're provided the opportunity, then you need to prepare yourself and capitalize on it.
4.
I never believed that Tim was dying of AIDS.
The fans now lift their hands in appreciation of Tim Richmond.
3.
When he left in '82, he should never been back.
I don't love to race to get beat. I love to race to win.
Each of the stories in our countdown have been about individual racers who drive to the beat of a different drummer. And no driver in the history of NASCAR marched to his own rhythm like Alan Kulwicki.
You're familiar with the expression mule-headed. Alan was mule-headed. He did it his way, right or wrong.
He was the first driver I ever saw carry a briefcase. First driver I ever saw on a cell phone in the garage area.
And while other drivers jumped at the chance to race for big money teams, Alan Kulwicki preferred to do it himself.
He'd stay in his shop at night all by himself, tweaking on the suspension, working on the geometry, and figuring out things about that car to make it go faster.
So it should have come as no surprise that in 1992, when everyone else had counted the Wisconsin driver out, he was just getting started.
Number 2.
Alan Kulwicki gets spun around, made some contact with Chad Little coming into the corner. A lot of damage to the Hooters Ford.
He gathered his team after that crash at Dover. A lot of them were in tears, and he thanked them for their effort. Said, "We're not done yet."
With 6 races remaining in the '92 season, Alan Kulwicki set fourth in the point standings, facing an insurmountable 278-point deficit. And the cars he was chasing were driven by Bill Elliott and Davey Allison.
From the day that race ended at Dover, he probably had a pen and a pad back at that point to go, okay, here's exactly what we have to do, and here's how we're going to go do it.
No driver can make up 278 points without help from the competition. They had trouble.
You ain't gonna believe it, folks. 11 car blew up.
Bill Elliott, big puff of smoke down the straightaway.
Today's a good example. You never know what's going to happen. It's never over till it's over.
He could quietly sit back there, do his job, and let Davey and Bill go out there and sort of race each other. And he just did his own thing.
By the season's final race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Kulwicki was in striking distance of both Elliott and Allison.
Davey Allison had the lead, 30 or 35 points. He crashes. Davey Allison crashes off turn 4. Eliminates the car. He's out.
I remember watching that race on TV and the commentators back going crazy trying to keep track with who's leading laps, who's doing this, who's wearing the points.
Kulwicki is going to lead this lap. Here comes Bill Bunn. Takes the lead Bunn. That's the way to race for a championship. That's the way to go for a championship.
Hey, wait a minute. This thing's going to come down to the wire.
And it's basically going to come down to who leads the most laps, whether it's Alan or Bill.
I can remember Alan on the radio on the scanner figuring the laps. Did he lead enough laps?
In the end, the engineer outsmarted the field, leading one more lap than Elliott and clinching the Cup title by a mere 10 points.
Unbelievable that an independent like that could come and beat the big boys.
That's a massive thing, and I think that goes to speak for the heart, you know? I mean, you got the heart, you believe in yourself, you can get out there and do it.
If anybody ever thinks, well, I'm done, I need to give it up, I need to plan for next year, they just need to look back to Alan Kulwicki, and then you can realize I'd better keep working. You never know.
Race-winning comebacks, title-winning comebacks. Over the last hour, we've seen them all. But the greatest comeback in NASCAR history is even more impressive than all of those. No one ever accused Ernie Irvan of taking it easy.
He ran everybody hard. He pushed his equipment past its limits a lot of times just because that's how he drove. That's his only way he knew how.
By 1994, Irvan was battling with Dale Earnhardt for the Cup title, but the title run ended during a practice session at Michigan.
Number 1.
The car was just great. We went out early that morning and we're going to run a 10-lap run, and on lap 10 they didn't come in.
I see Raymond Fox, my car chief, really waving his arm frantically. And I got on radio and said, "Caution's out, Ernie, cautions." And Raymond's going, "No, it's us."
They shut the racetrack down. I'm like, what's going on here? And I see the helicopter go over and said, "Oh man, that's getting bad. Who is it?" I said, "Ernie." I said, "Ernie."
The head injury was in itself massive. And I guess somebody in the room had asked, well, what are his chances? And I remember Dr. Farhat saying that if he lives through the night, he'll have a 5 to 10% chance of making it.
For days, the NASCAR family waited for the worst news, but it never came. Instead, Irvan fought back.
I never had any point that I didn't think I was going to get back in the car. I mean, I could barely talk at the time, but to put it all in a nutshell, I wanted to get back to racing.
He worked really, really hard through his rehab, through everything. His family stood behind him, his team owners and a lot of people stood behind him and gave him a lot of encouragement.
By the summer of 1995, Ernie Irvan was showing up at the track, and by October, he was back in a race car at the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
When I saw him the first time with a patch over his eye and this and that, and I went, "You gotta be kidding, this guy's gonna drive a race car?"
He drove his first race with an eye patch. I was still like, there's no way he can do this.
Not only does he do all that, practice, qualify, and race, but he finishes 6th.
He returned to full-time racing the following season, and on July 14, 1996, Ernie Irvan stood in victory lane in Loudon, New Hampshire.
You know, Ernie almost died, and he's so good that he came back with one hand tied behind his back, so to speak, and still beat us.
Irvan raced 3 more seasons. His 15th and final victory came at the most fitting of locations.
Ernie Irvan is going to win the Miller 400 at the Michigan Speedway, a popular victory coming at the track where he was so critically injured some years ago.
It was like an exclamation mark at the end of a long journey. To see a person come from what he went to get back to victory lane was really neat.
His injury could have been career-ending. He didn't want to accept that.
A lot of that came from deep inside, and to come back from something like that, it can only be described as a miracle.
To me, it's a God-given thing that happened. God gave me the talent to be able to drive a race car, and He also gave it where I could actually do it again.
Why do racers do it? What makes a man stare at long odds and not consider failure, but rather how failure can be beaten? This is the mentality that produces a great comeback. And a great comeback proves one indisputable fact. No matter the equipment, no matter the money, no matter the team, there will always be those moments when manpower, even horsepower, must bow to willpower.
Here they come off the turn. Ricky Craven is a NASCAR Winston Cup winner.
It has been a long, hard road for Mark Martin, but he will go to victory lane.
A happy moment for this over 40 race driver who was outlawed for so many years, making a successful comeback.
There's the checkered flag for Allen. He's the champion for 92.
Ernie Irvan battled back. He's now a quarter mile